YouTubers, good day to you. I am going to do a small thing on some of the frog baits and a couple different varieties of in-between baits that I don't really talk about very much. Lipless crankbaits being one of them. And I've got to kind of get a little bit prepared, so bear with me. It won't take me but 2 seconds. My girlfriend has now got a tackle box of her own, and I'm borrowing a couple from her. So, lipless crankbaits. They fill quite a unique niche in the market of topwater, shallow, medium, and deep running crankbaits. Being lipless, the action is created by the force of the water from the front to the back of the lure. This being said, they have usually a wider body in the front to the back that makes the motion, and a rattle side to side. They usually have rattles inside of them. They vary really badly by quality from brand to brand. So I generally like to buy high end if I can. I have been disappointed by a couple high brands, but Rattle Trap is usually the go-to because they've been around the longest. This one is an XPS from Bass Pro. It sucks. I will never buy another XPS lipless crankbait. I can't do it. This thing does not track true in the water. If you pull it faster than 2 handles per minute, the thing just comes to the surface and waddles around. It has minimal rattle to it. It sucks. So there's that one. Now, on the other side of things, for the not so expensive but really good, is the Rapala Rip and Wrap lipless. And you'll notice it has kind of the general profile of a shad. It's a little disproportionate because of the way that lipless crankbaits have to work, but that gets the attention of the fish. It's got kind of an anorexic treble hook system on it. I'm going to upgrade these today, actually. Start using it. This is ironically one that I actually pulled out when I got snagged in one of the ponds that I go to. But it's really well-known, well-working one. So, yeah, it's going to get refitted. These are by Storm. They're more of the baitfish-looking type of lure. They work really well in the primary ponds that I go to. And with my girlfriend, the eyes are actually pressed through both sides in the rubber. They're fairly realistic. They're kind of sunken in. I'm not a big fan of that, but Storm has caught a lot of fish, so they're noted to be worked upon and used. They have different kinds, bluegill, shad. These work really good when those type of baitfish are running, by the way. If you see boils, throw these are like $7 for a pack of 3, I think. They're worth the investment. These things, from a small bait perspective, if you throw them in the middle of a boil, you're going to get blasted, especially the threadfin. So there's that. On the higher end of the spectrum of these lipless crankbaits is this Mazuo that I got at Bass Pro. It has smaller rattles, but it's a smaller bait, smaller profile, crawdad color. It's got these flares in the gills. You see how they flare out? They push water really well. They're actually cut from the same mold of the bait, but then they're welded on. Their process for this part is welding, and then they paint over after it's been changed a bit. This will work where there's a lot of crawdads. I don't fish a lot of places that have a lot of crawdads, but this will work, especially in rivers. This is phenomenal. So I definitely always have that in my box, so to speak. Then I have my frogs. Now, I haven't done a lot of frog fishing lately. I've been concentrating on a lot of different new methods. I will say that I've caught some phenomenal bass on frogs. I mean, phenomenal bass on frogs. I will never discount the lures. So, yeah. So, I go from the Spro, like walk the dog type frogs. Here's more of a shad color. a little bit of chartreusiness to it, to more of the green froggy type. They actually look a little, this is more of a yellow, it's the light that's doing that. See, there's the yellow. But they work well. They do. In that vein of fishing, if you're doing top water, you can put them over pads. They don't have the same exact motion as a regular one. And then they have, this is one thing from Bass Pro that I do like. They take on a lot of water. They're Kermits. They're called Kermit. They actually are. And these patterns that they have, they take a lot of water though, so I try not to throw them too much because they're very, very squeezy. Great hookup rate, but they just take on a lot of water. But they have a rattle though. Then I have the more realistic ones with the legs. These are the Copper's Live Target soft body, very nice and soft. They don't take too much water. This one is the larger size. This one is a little bit smaller size. They work pretty good, but they are a slow motion frog. They're made for when you're finessing, you're trying to draw very reluctant fish out. So they don't really get thrown a lot by me. One thing I do a lot of though is from Scum Frog. Scum Frog has great basic frogs, and their kick paddle tails are great. I actually have a much upgraded size hook on this one. It's caught me a lot. I have another one of these with the regular size hooks in another box. So never discount the frogs or the lipless crankbaits. They're two lures that are just in their own niche, so to speak, and they work. You know, they just work, and it depends on how you're applying them. You know, there's a lot of individuality in using those baits. There's a lot that you do as an angler that will change the way that you have success rates. Like this one in particular, the Rockler Rippin' Wrap. It's very heavy for its size. You can tell it's not a big lure. It's, I think, 3 inches long. It's an exaggerated body, so it's not exactly like the baitfish, but it looks enough of the profile to get the attention. It's that wrap, though. It really just super hardcore sound to it. And it's got a slim enough profile on the bottom. It's a lot like the baitfish in that respect, but it has that cavity there that makes it shake to get those rattles going. But it sinks really fast, so if you're not intending for it to be a deep lure for lipless, you got to start it like the minute it hits the water, because if it doesn't hit and you don't start bringing it, it's going to go down. It's a very much a countdown lure. You got to do it on your own. I would recommend picking these up just because of the factor of the noise and the action that they make. It has a tendency to bring some pretty decent sized fish in, and fairly consistently bring them in. I've heard a lot of reports. I have not fished it yet. I've always been a rattle trap guy, but these are like the new guys in town, and they're really making a wave. There's the Bass Pro Laser Eye Shad is also another one to not pass up, because for its cost, it's actually a really good lure. That XPS one, though, oh no, don't get them. The Laser Eye are more in the vein of this type of shape to round it off. They're worth the time and effort to use. So use these in the interim, or like when you don't get bites on the other baits, pull them out of the box, throw them. Try to throw them on a reaction type rod, the kind that has a fast tip, but it's soft enough that it bends when you hit, or you can pull these out of the mouth of the fish really easily. Tight lines.